All right. Give me.
Well, I had sort of a bizarre.
Let's go ahead and get this party started. First and foremost. All right, Chatty Cathy's.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, I know how it is. Well, good morning. You good? All right. So before we dive into this morning's meeting, I would like our guests to introduce themselves real quick and kind of share a little bit about themselves and why they're here and why they've provided some nice treats for you this morning. So I turn it over to you.
Okay. Thanks for having us. My name is Kent Gillespie with Premier Bank, and this is Lindsay. I'm the mortgage lender at Premier Bank, and also I do a little bit of commercial lending as well. And so I just wanted to come out and introduce myself and see if there's any questions, things like that. One thing about Premier Bank is some of the things that we offer that might be a little bit different is our fees and so forth. Most banks charge a 1% origination fee on the loan amount for their clients. We just charge a 0.5% origination fee, so there's a huge savings there on things. And then also there's some lease flyers, that's $500 off of closing costs. You're welcome to pass that along to your different clients as well. The other thing that we're a community bank, so we're smaller and we do answer our phones. So if your clients or you are calling, you don't have the phone tree and things like that. You get me, or if I'm not there, it rolls out to my assistant to answer the phone. So communication is always important during transactions, so we try to apply ourselves on that as well. There's another flyer that we have. It's a home equity line of credit special that we're having right now. They're on a loan of HELOC above $200,000. We have zero closing costs on that. We will do a loan that's larger, but there will be closing costs. So it's a huge savings. We just priced one for someone that was $170,000, and for a home equity line of credit with closing costs, we're going to get like $1,100. So it's huge closing if they do about $200,000. It's huge. We used that, for instance, yesterday. I had someone that was trying to find a way to get a non-contingent offer on a home, and they have lots of equity in their current house. And so we are using that as a backup, that if they need to do something, we can get a HELOC on their existing house because they qualify for that payment along with the payment of the other house. So we try to get creative that way to make the deal happen. We do commercial loans. I've talked to a couple of you about that as well. Commercial loans, we try to get creative. A lot of people are buying investment properties and things like that, and we try to be creative. All on the commercial loans, all the decisions are made locally right here in town. So we try to get on site to look at the property and try to find a way to make it happen. So.
I was just saying, it's almost like fair market, but we also do some special just.
Oh yeah. So that's a good point. A lot of our loans, first and foremost, we might try to go secondary market, almost like something just isn't right with the property or something just isn't hit the square box. We look at a lot of those in-house. The terms are a little bit different, but it's a way to get the loan closed. And sometimes, I have one right now. It's a foreclosure and they want to live there, but the subflooring's gone in a couple of the rooms, the appliances are gone, and a couple of holes in the walls, things like that. So what we're doing is, and they have a good chunk of money down. They're putting 20% down or 25%, I think. So we're financing that in-house. He's a carpenter, so he can do all the work himself. And then when a couple of years or whatever he gets the work done, then we'll look at refinancing that on the secondary market. So whenever we can't make it work on the secondary market, I always try to see if there's something else that we can do. I don't pass them on to someone else. I just take care of that myself. So extra little touch there. Any sense?
Everything's done in-house.
Yep. All the in-house loans are local. So Premier Bank's been in Rochester since 1990. It's been in existence since 1974. The family-owned business. The founder of the bank is 89 years old and he's still involved in a lot of the aspects of the bank. But there's 7 of his kids that are involved in the bank, and along with a lot of grandkids now too. So it's definitely a family-owned bank, and it's a really good family to work for and take care of the clients and employees.
Is there a branch in Owatonna?
There is.
Do you go there, or that's a different?
That's a different lender typically. I've had loans in Owatonna, so definitely, because the way it's structured, our person that covers Owatonna is actually out of Hastings. So, yeah. So sometimes, I can help out with, maybe I don't go there, but I can help out. Most of the transactions are over the phone or on the internet, like that, so.
Are you at all competitive, right, as far as your in-house product?
Our in-house products, the rate's gonna be a little bit higher. For instance, today, a 30-year is at 4.5, and our in-house product, we only do a 20-year amortization, with a 5-year balloon, and typically we're around 5.8, 5.25 today. So with a little higher rate because it's in-house. That's why a lot of them say, okay, let's do this for a little bit, and then we'll get it refinanced on the secondary market. So, but try to find it.
Sounds good. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks. And your
Enjoy
cards and
these.
stuff are up there?
My cards, yep, I left the cards
Good.
here, and so if you have calls or questions, you can call or email.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
care. Stay dry today.
Yes, try.
Take care. Thanks for the treat.
Thank you. Tomorrow, yeah.
I'm sure they're coming back.
Thanks, Benedict, you know what?
Yeah.
Go out.
All right, hey, so before I dive in, Miss Nikki is going to give everybody the 411 on tomorrow, because tomorrow is what?
Red Day.
All right, very good. So she's going to talk a little bit about it and let you know that if you'd like a shirt, Leanne, which I can tell you do by the look on your face right now, you've got extras. Take it away, Nikki.
Happy Hump Day. Guess what day it is? The day before Red Day. Super exciting. So we have 1 small, 2 mediums, and several larges. This is a large, so they're plenty big. We have several of them left, $10. Katie can throw them right on your ARs. And we'll be at Seasons Hospice tomorrow like we do every year. Kind of hoping the weather holds out. Usually it's about 45 and rainy, so I think we're gonna be 60 and maybe sunny. We'll see. 1 o'clock, I have a map how to get there that I did send out in an email. I can also print it off.
It's not far from here.
Nope, it's not. And then probably take us to about 4 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, depending how many people come. And then we'll meet over at Wildwood Bar and Grill for some happy hours. Maybe plural.
Festivities.
Happy
Yes.
hours.
Yeah.
Yes,
Happy day.
maybe so.
I like happy,
Um,
happy.
We do have a pressure washer that Creative Curve is donating for us to use. And we still are looking for a leaf blower. If anybody knows of a leaf blower or has one, I mean.
It's electric.
Yeah, mine is too.
Okay, I haven't been there to know. Okay, good, we're good to go.
People have been known to bring beverages even to the cleanup, so
Yes.
just saying.
It happens.
It's a good time.
It
It's a fun
happens.
time.
It's a great time.
And the people that are always so sweet and so kind, they brought us lemonade and treats last time. They're super, super appreciative, and so are the family members. So it's great. You're outdoors. It's nice. It's relaxing. It's a whole lot of fun. The more the merrier, because it makes things a little bit faster, which is nice too, and it makes happy hour that much more fun. So if you can make it, encourage other people to come along too. Very rarely do we ever sometimes push pause and go out of our way to help some people. So let's do it tomorrow and really kind of live what Red Day is all about. So.
Absolutely. It's a great cause, Seasons Hospice. I'm sure most of you know about it. It's try to keep it as comforting and beautiful in their surroundings as we can for them. So. Awesome.
Thank you. And the weather looks nice. I just checked, so
Good.
we'll be just fine.
First time for everything.
Right.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
So I was told that they were going to bring breakfast. I don't know when breakfast became cupcakes. I might be in trouble. But I was banking on it, so I had a cupcake for breakfast.
Eggs. Eggs.
There you go. It's what's the orange
And
juice.
elderberry muffins and orange juice.
There we go. Of course, I picked the chocolate one, so it was a cupcake. Let's talk about what's going on for the rest of the month before we dive into today's activity. So right now, obviously, we're doing the team meeting. The ALC meeting is going to take place afterward right here from 12:15 to 1:15. And then there's a technology learning live stream event that's taking place at 6 o'clock tonight. You can watch that from at home or wherever. I highly recommend you hop on there. It's going to be talking about the Kelly app as well as a referral network that we have. I've started using this referral network in my personal business. It's led to deals. If this isn't something you checked out yet, I highly recommend you get on there, you check it out, and you start familiarizing yourself with it and embrace it as a tool, because this will bring you deals. It will increase your income. So I highly recommend you hop on that if you can this evening. Red Day tomorrow we already talked about. Mel will also be in the Market Center from 10 to 4 if anybody needs help with anything. We're starting group coaching this Friday with myself. This is open to everybody. I don't want people to think this is just for new agents. Quite the contrary. It's for experienced, seasoned agents that are looking to push their business to grow. The added benefit to newer folks is they get to be in a room with people that are in production, doing business, and looking to grow, right? So that takes place from 9:30 to 10:30. If we need to live stream it or get a phone on here too so that people from other offices can be in on it, let me know. We can coordinate that. But tomorrow, it's this Friday, the 11th. This first one is going to be a little bit foundational and explain how it's going to move forward. But the idea is every Friday from 9:30 to 10:30, we're doing some group coaching together as a group to kind of hold each other accountable and continue to push our business and our productivity. Sound good?
What time was that at?
9:30 to 10:30. There's another live stream event that takes place that day at 3 p.m. It's about the Keller Cloud product and updates. It was a little bit of a Q&A. Highly recommend you hop in on that. The CGI call and huddle continues to take place on Mondays from 1 to 2 in this room. The final day of Bold is next Tuesday. Everybody's going to graduate. We've got 7 agents that are going to graduate from the session of Bold, which has been fantastic. Next Wednesday, I'm teaching the MREA economic and lead generation models. So if you're interested in fine-tuning your business, some of the back-end stuff, looking at the economic model and the lead generation model, I'll be spending at least an hour talking about both of those in detail, so you can apply it to your business. Got some CE coming in on Thursday, the 17th. Also, Mel's going to be doing a tech workshop in Rochester as well. Group coaching that Friday. The 22nd, we've got some more CE coming in. I think that one's $10 per. It's from Karen from CMAR is going to be coming in and doing that one. Our next team meeting will be the 23rd from 11 to 12. We're going to have at 12. After that meeting, we're going to have lunch, and then Michelle Smith, our legal advisor, is going to be here at 12:30 to 1:30 for a Q&A session, answer questions that you might have if you've been having a few things come up on deals or you're working through something right now. Great opportunity to ask her some questions. If you haven't met her, just come meet her and put a face. I haven't even met the woman. Put a face to the name, introduce yourself, say, I'm the one that you're always getting calls about. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully that's not you. Right. Right. But I know she's a huge help to us, so come on in and pick her brain a little bit. The 24th, how to market your listings with Katie. Probably not a bad one to be at, right? Especially since listings is the name of the game and they're very competitive right now. Come learn how you can leverage our marketing in your listing appointments to win the listing. Group coaching again that day. The 28th, Memorial Day, we are closed. The 29th, Sally with Amic will be presenting a lunch and learn from 11:30 to 12:30. And then the 30th, which is the last Wednesday of the month, I'm going to be covering the other couple of models, the budget and organizational models. If you are somebody that's in growth mode right now, let's say you're hitting that point where you're doing 20, 25, 30 deals and you're wondering, where do I go next if I desire to grow? Be it that one, especially if we talk about the organizational model. Because if you're looking to continue to grow, maybe grow a team, maybe bring on an administrative person, we're going to talk about what the organizational model looks like, how you do it smartly, how you budget for it, how you plan for it, and how you can kind of help yourself grow and continue to actually, make more money as you grow your business, but sustain a home life.
What's the time on that? I know I can.
11 to 12.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'll get my own.
11 to 12, Wednesday the 30th. Because if you're anything like me, the scariest thing that I ever did in my business was hire somebody. Not my wife, that was an easy one. She just hired herself. No, I'm just kidding. But when we made our first hire, our administrative person, I mean, that was scary. There's a lot of stuff involved with it. You want to get the right person. You don't want to do it wrong. You got a budget for it and all that fun stuff. So If you're in the beginning phases of thinking about that, make sure you come to that session because we're going to talk a little bit more about it. Okay, any questions about what's coming down the pipeline? I'd love to answer them for you, but Carrie stole my calendar, so you're gonna have to ask her for now.
This, I'm looking at this just in awe because if you're talking to agents from other places, show them this and how packed our calendar is. It's just phenomenal.
Well,
I mean,
thank you.
it's mind blowing, but it's a huge.
We're gonna come up front, face the camera, and say that again. No, I'm just kidding. This is the value. This is the value, right? One of many things. So thanks for saying that, Carrie. That's good. $20. All right, so do I immediately get to take back what I just said?
That's funny.
All right, so what I want to do right now is go over quarter one report for the company as a whole, so we kind of know where we stand, and speak to it, and you guys should really be excited about some of the news that I have to share here. Cooperate with me. I'm sharing the screen because I've learned through calls or text messages from Jennifer that sometimes the screen is hard to hear what she's trying to watch. I'm just using it.
It's so bright that you can't see it on the other end.
Because I'm so bright.
Yes,
Okay.
you're shining light.
Thank you. So this is basically, we're going to take a snapshot of Keller Williams as a company, the first quarter, how we've done, and so that you guys can share it when you're talking with clients and other agents and use it to your advantage. So obviously we embrace the unique culture of shared success. It's woven into the fiber of our company, from profit share, technology. We stand side by side with our people to really help grow their businesses and add quality to their personal lives. So here's the quick hits or the quick highlight reel so far this year as a company, what we're rocking and rolling. Just under 100 labs were conducted, generating ideas that will power the next generation of technology within the Keller Cloud. So people are like, okay, what does that mean? What are 100 labs? So Keller Williams kind of has a little mini technology HQ in Austin where they're constantly trying new things. They're taking technology and ideas that agents are having, they're melding them, they're trying them out, they're experimenting. That's why it's called a lab, because they're experimenting with technology. And they're just doing iteration after iteration after iteration instead of saying, hey, we're going to spend 1 year, we're going to build this product, we're going to launch it, and then it fails, right? Because we didn't try it or practice it or see if there are any kinks in the system or change it along the way, right? So it's a big deal that they're constantly doing all these labs and iterations and experiments, and it's leading to things like the Kelly app that you have in the referral network that was born out of these labs and that system. They've got a cloud and market home Snapchat and stuff they're working, Snapshot, and it's all coming down the pipeline. So if you go to KW Connect and you click on labs, you can get all the most recent updates of what they're working on, what's coming down the pipeline, and kind of keep up to date with what they're doing. It's a huge advantage of doing it because a lot of the stuff that they do or release, it's out there, but unless you're following it, you don't know, you don't get around to it until a little bit later. So if you want to be one of the first adopters, it's helpful to track it and just jump on board. Sometimes they'll even let you start doing it before they let all of our agents start doing it. So referrals launched, and so far, a little over 4,600 agent-to-agent referrals have been sent, representing 1.2 billion in sales volume. That's why I say you need to hop on that referral network and know how to use it. There's a lot of business out there. It's where agents are going to right now to find people to send referrals to. It's linked to your account. It's linked to your numbers. You can track it in there. You can add notes and send messages. We've got a guy right now who he looked us up in the referral system. He's out of Houston. No, he's out of Amarillo, Texas. Sent me a referral. Sent Carly a referral, and we just communicate and update each other back and forth via the network. And it's been awesome. So highly recommend that you guys check it out. About 46,500 agents have downloaded the app. It's the KW Artificial Intelligence Business Partner. Had over 1 million interactions with it. I'll be honest with you, it's still in the rudimentary phases. There's a lot of good stuff that it can do right now when it comes to the referral network, but it's still being built out, and it's going to get more robust as time goes on. We're now home to just about 160,000 agents in the U.S., and we're up 12.2% from quarter one of 2017. So as a company, we've grown roughly 12% just in the first quarter alone, which is pretty phenomenal. Our agents have closed over 200,000 transactions this quarter, up almost 5%. Closed a record-setting $62.7 billion in sales volume, which is up 10.7% from quarter one. I want to pause for a minute because I'm going to give it again today, but I give the market updates pretty much every month, right? What have we been saying every month? What's going on in the market?
Up.
Yeah, well, as a whole though, in terms of sales and listings and stuff, what's going on? Yeah, we're kind of down, right? I'll share the numbers with you in a minute, but we're down. So we're saying as a company, even though the market is kind of down or negative right now, we're up over 10%. That's called outperforming the market. And that's done through design, not just by chance or happenstance, right? It's because we're still having conversations and running our businesses like a business and getting after it, right? We're not letting the market dictate our business. We're dictating our business, which is impacting the market. Agents took about 175,000 new listings, which is up 8.8%. We all know listings are down from last year, yet as a company, we're up almost 9%. Listings taken volume totaled 59 billion, up a historic 18.2%. That's just nuts, right? What do you think has caused that to be such a historic percentage when we look at listing volume taken? What's been happening to prices? They're spiking much more than what's normal, right? When you see home appreciation 10, 12, 15, 20%, well, it's no surprise if we're outperforming the market by 8.8% and home prices are appreciating rapidly, that we're going to set a record when it comes to our listing volume taken, right? It's still unbelievable. Owner profits up 3.4%, reaching 35 million, which means profit share increased 5.6%, with associates cashing in checks for about 30 million in profit share, which is unreal. This is kind of cool. I think this is always interesting when I look at the way the Keller Williams is structured. Great owner profit shot up 3.4%, but what increased even more than that? It's profit share. Where's the priority, right? And oh, by the way, owners collectively are keeping just about as much as their share, which is pretty phenomenal, pretty interesting. So that's just some quick tidbits. Game-changing innovation, like I said, about 100 labs have been conducted. This is a snapshot of the lab environment down in Austin. This is the crew that's going through all the different testing and coming up with new ideas that we can implement as agents in our business. I think it's kind of lost on us a little bit. Sometimes it is on me even, until I really sit back and look at just think about this for a minute. What other companies out there, especially real estate companies, have a dedicated department that exists to create new technology you can implement in your business? There's no other technology company that does. Or excuse me, no other real estate company that does. They do not. They outsource everything. Yeah, thank you. They outsource it all. And oh, by the way, once we announced what we were doing, they said, oh, well, we better get on board with some tech company and try to do the same thing. This is going to be a game changer for you. It's going to mean more business. It's going to mean more money. It's going to be a huge differentiator for you when you're talking with your clients as well. So it's a pretty big deal. Quarter 1 2018, it's part of an ongoing research and development, Keller Cloud technology fueled by agent and consumer insights. I'm way more excited for the platform that they finally come out with when they're ready to release it, to see how it integrates everything. The referral network is cool, but I can't wait to see that platform and just embrace it as sort of my database management system, all-encompassing thing. It's going to save a lot of money as well. Agent-to-agent referrals, I kind of touched on this already. Over 1 million network invitations have been sent. I don't know about you, but I seem to get about one a day or one every other day, people asking to join a referral network. That's them looking to refer you business in the future, hopefully. So our artificial AI, or Kelly, was made generally available to download in February. A lot of folks have already downloaded it. How many of you actually are kind of using it or check it at least every so often, or at least to accept the referral network requests? Okay, great. Every so often, when you click on it, it asks you to sign in again. That's not a fluke. That means that they've changed it again and they've fixed a bug or tweaked it a little bit. That's why it's asking you to re-sign it. So that's pretty normal. It just means they've made some sort of change. Agent count up 12.2%. NAR's only up 4.3. So quarter 1 of last year, we were at about 142. Now we're at 159. Which is, it's exciting. It just means more market share, more things that we can leverage in our individual appointments when we're talking with clients. If somebody in Rochester or Austin tells you right now, well, it's great that I'm meeting with you, you're a Keller Williams agent, but you guys just not the biggest, or you just don't have the name recognition, what should you do or what should you say? Yeah, that would be, maybe add a snap too while you're at it. You say, oh, interesting that you should say it. Would it surprise you to hear that Keller Williams is actually the #1 real estate company in the United States, actually in the world, really? What do you mean? Well, we're #1 in sales volume, agent count, and closed units. It's part of educating. I like to phrase it that way. Well, would you be surprised to learn? Oh, by the way, as part of my marketing material, I can demonstrate. Here's the proof to what I'm saying. We're #1. Somebody asked me the other day, well, okay, well, just, tell me a little bit more about Keller Williams. I said, okay, absolutely, I'd love to. We're #1 in agent count, sales volume, and closed units. There's really nothing else to know. Oh, by the way, we happen to be the #1 trading company of our industry. What more do you need to know to understand that we're the company to be to grow your business? Can that apply to your clients as well? Well, tell me more about your company. I would love to. We're #1 across the board. If you're looking for a great agent in the #1 company to get your results, to get your home sold, and help you find the home of your dreams, clearly the statistics show that we're the company to partner with. We've got proven results. We're just to work for you. Be happy to do it. Right? We need to start leveraging this stuff and using it way more than we are. Would you raise your hand? You're like, I could probably start slipping some of that stuff into my client appointments and meetings, right? Like this would be, I would almost start with this, just laid out there to say, hey, you should, before we begin, you should know this about our company and the company I partnered with, and then dive into your stuff as well, right? Transactions, NAR is down 2%. So our industry, all of our peers collectively in the industry are down 2%. We're up 4.8, we're roughly 5%. When you see that the industry is negative 2%, but we're as a company positive 5%, like what does that really mean? Like what's the power in that slide? What is that saying? What is that communicating? What is that an illustration of? Everybody else is down, but we're up. So if we're up 5 and you add the 2, we're really outperforming by 7% total, right? What is that? What is that an indication of? What does it mean?
We have our unfair share of the market.
Right. What obviously means we're doing something different, right? And if you look at it, and we're talking about transactions, what are probably some of the things we are doing different if people are going backward and we're going forward? Number one, having meetings like this where we talk about the market, increasing your business and growing, and what else?
Utilizing the training that we're receiving.
The training, the education, the coaching, the accountability, having those discussions, right? And holding each other accountable. That's what leads to those kind of results, right? You can go to other companies where you show up, you do your thing, maybe you grow, maybe you don't. If you let the market run your business, that's what will happen. If you consciously take control of it, you can outperform it, right? That's what we're doing. That's what you guys are doing. You just said you did how much in volume over the last couple of weeks?
About 2.2.
About 2.2 million. That's outperforming the market. You, all of you in here, are a direct reflection of that statistic. You contribute to it because you're out there making it happen. You guys are getting me excited over here. You get pumped up. All right, sales volume. We talked about this already. We're up about 10.7% compared to the industry about being up about 2%. Profit share. Q1 of 2017 was 28.6 million, which was unreal, and already we're past that for 2018. Profit share about 30 million. I think I looked at our office specifically, and from January to the end of April of this year, we are up 70% year-to-date profit share, which is pretty awesome. So nice job, everybody. Awards and accolades. I know I'm bragging on us all right now a little bit, but sometimes we forget to do it. So. Training Magazine inducted KW into its Hall of Fame of top training organizations. 2017, 2015, we were ranked as the #1 training and coaching organization across all industries in the world. And in 16 and 14, we held #2 spot on the training top 125. We led the way in the Real Trends 500 with 161 brokerages ranked by volume this year, more than any other brokerage. No other company had more brokerages in the Real Trends top 500 than Keller Williams. Would it surprise you to know that? I bet it would surprise a lot of people at those other brokerages to know that. These firms handled more than $207 billion in sales, up 16% year over year. We had 324 firms ranked on the Power Broker Top 1,000, representing almost 1 million transactions and 272 billion in volume. So we had about 161 in the top 500 and 324 in the top 1,000. We were named as the happiest place to work in 2018, which is no surprise. And indeed, KW was ranked as the #1 company for employee work-life balance. It seems that way sometimes, but believe it or not, you know, we talk about it enough and try to make it a priority that, you know, work-life balance is part of our philosophy after all. So, any questions about that? Any ahas? Any takeaways? It's because of our philosophy that we're able to do those things, and because of all the work that you guys do. So if you could all do me a huge favor, just lean forward a little bit. Lean forward a little bit. Just a tap. Just go ahead and pat yourself on that. Good job. You guys are crushing it. Okay. So that being said, any other questions about how we're doing as a company? Questions, thoughts, ahas, takeaways about how we can leverage that information to our benefit in our own individual businesses? I will forward that to you. I posted it on Facebook, absolutely. You guys can tweak them, edit them, whatever it is that you want to do. Anything else? Okay, so let's talk about the market. What's going on? None of that stuff. I should have erased that beforehand. We're going to talk about CMAR first. So, CMAR wide, what's going on in southeast Minnesota? The absorption rate year to date is 2.09, which is down compared to this time last year. As of right now, the absorption rate is down about 9%. It sounds more dramatic than it is. This time last year it was 2.3. Right now it's about 2.1. So we're talking a few days, right? Median list price is up almost 14%. Median list price up almost 14% across all of CMAR. We went from 185 to about 210.5. Remember, that's list price, so you can list your house at whatever you want, right? Median sale price is up about 6%. Went from 169.9 about 170 to 180. So our median sale price is up about 10 grand on average. Median days on market down 20%. Went from 40 to 32. Again, this is for all of CMAR. Sold listings are down 3.5%. Pending listings are down 3%. Active listings are down 9.5%. And new listings are down 9.2%.
What's the difference between new and active?
Well, one's active and one's new, you see. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you. Active homes that are currently on the market, they have been for some time. New, I have to check. It means like it's brand new to the market.
24 hours in.
Within a certain amount of, yes. I can try to figure out what their cutoff is for that. Okay, so that's CMAR as a whole. Really no change. Some of those numbers have actually tightened up a little bit. Not too dramatic, not as dramatic as they maybe felt in the beginning months. Now we'll talk about Rochester specifically. So the absorption rate in Rochester, believe it or not, has gone up 2.6%. We've gone from 1.54 to 1.58. So we're still about a month and a half worth of inventory, but it's gone slightly up, which is a good thing in my opinion, how we will see for short lived. Median list price up 10.2%. Median list went from about 245 to 270. Median sales price, however, is up just shy of 3%, from 213.7 to 222. Now, does that seem like a little bit of a change from what we've been experiencing in the past? So, What kind of increase to median sales price have we been seeing?
It was about in the 257 range, wasn't it? Just a bit ago,
Yeah.
and now we're down.
Yeah, so basically it had been increasing by a higher percentage, right? Like probably close to 10, if not more. Well, now we're saying, hey, year to date, it's actually about 3%.
It's good though.
It is good. And what other number did we see change for kind of the better?
Absorption.
The absorption rate. Oh, so interesting. So you're telling me our absorption rate went up just a tad, and you're telling me that our median average sale price maybe isn't increasing as rapidly as it has in the past. So what are those maybe two indicators or signs of? Yeah, we might be moving back more toward a balanced market, because what time of year are we in right now? So your conventional wisdom would tell you what? We should be seeing the opposite, right? Which is interesting. So we'll shake these numbers out again toward the end of May and June, of course, to see what we're seeing. But overall, to me, it's interesting to see, okay, absorption rate up a tad, median sale price 3%. That's definitely within the norm of a healthy market. So are we trending back toward a more balanced, healthy market? Which I would love to do. Believe me, I love operating in a hot market, but I love operating in a market that also allows me to live a life, right? So hopefully that's what we're trending back toward, right? Carly was working a deal last night. She goes, oh my God, it's so refreshing to be negotiating a deal and be the only offer on the table, right? It's like, I can't remember the last time. Usually I'm like fighting off 6 or 7 other people just to get some sort of counter, right? Okay. Median days on market, however, down 18%. So our median days on market went from 22 this time last year to 18. Sold listings are down 5.5%. Pending listings are down 8%. Active listings are down 4.6%. And new listings are down 4.4%. So what's interesting to me is when I look at Rochester as a whole versus CMAR, sold and pending listings in Rochester are down more here in the city specifically than they are CMAR wide. Right, CMAR wide is kind of running about what it did last year, whereas in Rochester we're seeing a little bit less. In terms of active and new listings, however, the number of new and active listings in CMAR as a whole is substantially less than the new and actives in Rochester. It's interesting, just seeing how the market as a whole is different than Rochester here specifically. So here's what I'd love you to do. Just spend 5 minutes with the people nearby you. It can be you ladies over here, this group here, and this group over here, and just talk about what some of those numbers mean, what questions you have a little bit of a dialogue, and how you can communicate this to your clients and use this information in your businesses. About 5 minutes. Pretty good. No squirrels over here.
I'm out of ideas. Chicken, I'm not my Rochester. It's just everything.
That's where some of your variances are.
Hey, seriously, ladies?
Okay, sorry, we're talking about chicken.
We're talking about cooking for our clients. It's our rewards to our clients.
Okay.
We're just starting to find it. I don't use the stats, but I just very watery.
Yeah, that's why it's right now. I don't want to do this April, May to April, and now it's gonna be the middle of the year.
Especially when you're pregnant. Or when you're pregnant.
I think a lot of these numbers are well, so if a person is really, I have a client who's seeing the rent, and then also, you don't want to all of those 2 years, right?
Yeah, we don't have the drugs
are still fairly low. Because it does,
I still, he's a little off there. And then I called it, we're all so,
Yeah.
in March,
They finally learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
you
want to do like
one or two.
Yeah, and the engagement when they do on March.
Yeah.
When you are dealing with your buyers.
Well, especially because you go, if he's on market, like, honest, the house. So if it's removed, you can knock out 10 to 14 days of an inspection. And what you're saying is just not my stock market within the first 2 days.
And I think that all
It's straight,
That's right.
Asphalt products,
You know.
anything needed.
So, yeah, you don't have to trick around each one.
But
But it also works for the other. That's why it's like shopping on. So that day that you do have to make a decision, that absorption in your first row, because that pressure is so much higher. I feel like,
Right, and they're educated, especially, what I've been doing,
it's gone like that. And then you don't know what's coming.
Right, right.
She thinks she'll be there with that.
Give her $200,000.
Yeah.
And so I'm everything's been which they're like, you know, the house overlooked, I was like, it did sell it, and it did have multiple lots. And it did sell a little bit of price, you know, so you need to be property. Because that's what they. Yeah, so I've shown her, if I use it,
By a lot,
right?
because they're already.
4 months.
Yeah, we're using new homes.
You know, as we
Seeing a lot more.
so you're gonna actually have to spend less and less because interest rates are going up and up.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna lose more money?
Some of those are just
Yeah,
go for
yeah,
you.
plus, right?
I'm not making I always go to Texas. And I start there.
So that's how I'm educated, is just that you learn to. Median list price and median sales.
Yeah,
Because some people still are in the like, oh, we're still in the $80,000 house, well, that is actually now like, it's below the average, your quality is below the average. So,
And so.
Gone are the
but I don't
days.
think these builders coming out. These houses in the day or in this county built just because.
I feel bad.
So I think we're actually trying to be so
Yeah, we still have that.
So I think what
I've
I've
been
been
at,
at,
like,
main sites too, there's a lot of hours,
Yeah.
you know, right now. And if you did not, it would be right in there. So I think there's a lot more,
and it's dirty.
Yeah.
Because it always
Yeah.
smells bad. I don't know what to do with shoulders.
you see,
The most
so much higher.
that bring us to
There's a lot.
that I'm telling you, when I get it straight out to you.
Right.
You have to be a little sweet.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
sure
really
you-
interesting, it's a
yeah,
lot.
it's a real line of-
Just
Yeah,
how,
it's a
you don't always
hot
know
topic,
that
but
cheese, right?
like that's-
We know immediately on the market.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah.
negotiation, when you don't have to know it.
Under that,
Talking about, but it's
all
all
the stuff,
Yeah.
prices
lower, lower.
It's a very.
Bring it down.
We've got the motor-
Even the free.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Was
it really?
Right.
I didn't have to check that. I love that.
The bottom end, you should have put chicken in.
I can chip
it. It is.
Of course in there.
So I can try the hot spicy chilies. And then just fry it up.
Chicken breast, garlic.
All right. Let's wind it down. This group up front is starting to make me hungry again, so we're gonna rein it in. We're cooking up some chicken tonight, all kinds of good stuff. All right,
Get a recipe over here right now.
that sounds good. So tell me a little bit about your discussions, what you guys talked about, ahas, plans of action. What you come up with? Listen with me and get a free chicken breast.
Chicken and rice. I think the days on market conversation is exciting.
Tell me more.
Well, it shows sellers, but it also shows buyers that we can't think about it. We were talking about, you know, having to really educate the buyers that $180,000 house is now a $215,000 house.
Yeah, so, and what else is gonna compound that pain?
Rates are.
Your rates.
They went
What
up
are your
again
rates
last
doing?
night.
They did. So
What
let's,
are they?
now, I'll tell you what they are, they're still phenomenal. That's,
Yeah, there you go.
that's the spin. It's not a spin, but that's putting it in perspective. Oh my God, rates are for something. Great. You remember the last time they were this amazing? You missed out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
They're still amazing historically,
Mhm.
right? But now more than anything, we're in a great market, we're in a hot market, but now it's when you have to educate, when the market is changing this fast, it's this fast pace, and everybody's got comments on it, and the news is reporting about it. Now more than ever, our job as educators in our profession is absolutely critical, and it needs to happen at the front end of your interactions with your clients. You can't wait until you're out showing properties or writing a purchase agreement to say, oh, by the way, in this market, you gotta pay asking price or more to win. Because if you wait till then to have it, it's not gonna go, I've done that before, raise your hand if you've done that before. And what happened? What did you experience?
Well, you
Yeah.
take the wind right out of the sails.
You do,
for
they're,
one
they're, they're a little apprehensive. Really all it is it's a slower learning curve, right? Number one, sometimes they're a little bit hesitant because, okay, well, this doesn't seem right. But two, they're gonna lose a couple before they finally realize what you're telling them is the truth, right? So if you wanna save yourself some time, save them time, and increase your batting average when it comes to winning offers, this education piece needs to take place up front. You need to let them know, hey, I mean, I can't think of a deal so far this year that we probably got under this price. Is that maybe the one she's working on right now? The education piece is crucial. Same with sellers. They need to know and understand what kind of market they're in, because right now, what do a lot of people think they can do with their property? So,
The world.
a lot of people think they can sell it themselves. A lot of people think, hey, you know, my house is probably kind of worth 250. Let's go on 275 because the market's unreal right now. This would not do a whole lot. No, right? Maybe, but probably not, right? It's still going to be pricing conditioned to some extent, and you have to help manage your expectations a little bit, right? And you got to know if I own a $500,000 home or a $600,000 home, and I know that if a house is priced right that goes on the market, it's going to sell like that. Is that going to be relevant to my property? Not necessarily, right? When people talk about, yeah, homes are just flying off the market, they are at some price points more than others, right? So
It's their price rate regardless of what price point they're at.
absolutely.
You have to find the sweet spot.
You do. It will sell, but sometimes how long it takes it to sell could vary, right? So if you're in a listing appointment, and you're setting an expectation, or the client comes to that meeting with the expectation, this thing's going to sell within a matter of days. You might need to educate them and say, yeah, it will probably sell quickly, but at this price point, sometimes it does take a little bit longer for that to happen. Not the end of the world, but just something to understand. Okay, so great. What else? Thanks for sharing that.
We talked a little bit about new construction and the lack of it. Doesn't seem to be any out there. That's been going up. It's reasonable.
Yeah, it's become expensive.
Yeah, the materials are going up every day, so it's probably going to get worse.
Or just more expensive,
Or more expensive.
which might slow it down a little bit. I think I heard something about, like, if we're on the pace the new construction's on right now, that about 10 years from now, we should be back in line with where we need to be. I don't know, I just heard that somewhere. I mean, for all I know, somebody, yeah, for all I know, our resident Canadians. For all I know, it was fake news. But that's what I heard, which puts it in perspective, right? Yeah, we need homes going up, we need them going up fast, but
The land, they gotta find the land, and then.
it just takes
And then
time.
it takes time, and it
takes time.
and it's very expensive to develop that land.
It takes time, and they're not getting offloaded to the people that really have the high demand right now, which is first-time home buyers, right?
Right.
It's to your move-up buyers or your move-down buyers that need to sell to free up the inventory for your first-time home buyers. So it's going to take some time before it balances out. But I know it's busy. It's busy. They're throwing it left and right. So okay, what else? Thanks, Jim.
Talked about comparing kind of the Rochester numbers and the CMI numbers. And
Okay, I do that all the time. Is that helpful, or is you guys like, guys, just talk about Rochester over here?
It is for people who are outside of Rochester. I think that a lot of first-time homebuyers have found that they're priced out of Rochester. And so
Right.
we're seeing some who
Ooh,
are
that's good.
deciding that it's better to drive and afford a house
Right.
than,
So Rochester versus Greater Rochester, and that gets back to education, right? I remember I would do buyer consults sometimes where people would tell me, yeah, it was exactly like a single family home for about 170 in the Twin Cities. I'd say, great, you're looking at probably your second or third ring outer suburbs to find a single family home like that. Or you can get into the first order ring of suburbs for a townhome, right? Before, I would be scared to death to have that conversation. I'd probably waste some time on some showings and hope they figure it out. Nowadays, I tell them, hey, you know what, great, let me give you some feedback right away to kind of help you set some expectations. If you want to buy a single family home for $150,000, we're probably not looking at Rochester. We're probably looking, it's not the end of the world, we're probably just looking 10, 15 minutes out of Rochester, which is okay as long as you're fine with the commute. Or what we can do is maybe try to go after some townhomes, right? That's part of that education piece that needs to take place up front, right? Because it's not always the case that they put up with it and figure it out and eventually come to terms. What else do they sometimes do?
Well, they leave because they feel you're
Yeah.
not doing the job.
Absolutely, like, well,
You're not
Susan,
doing-
WTF, we're not getting it done, so I'm moving on to somebody else, right? So we have to do ourselves the service of educating them as well, to make sure that our client and us are on the same page. We can move forward and help them out. It's like we mentioned before, prices and rates are only going up. It's only going, so based on what Melissa just said, I can make with relative certainty this statement. It's only going to become more expensive. The affordability is only going to become less and less feasible for a lot of people in Rochester as we move forward.
Here's what I always say too, people are like, I want to flip a home, and I'll go on a go.
Good luck.
So there's
Yeah.
one home under $80,000 in Rochester, one home. You don't make money flipping unless you can do the work.
There's
or
one
you
home
get
that's already
lucky.
got 25 offers.
Well, exactly. I mean, and
They're all
you just, but the reality is, there are no $40,000 homes anymore that you're gonna make a boatload on flipping.
Right. Right. If you find them the traditional way.
And the comeback is, they're not on the MLS, I gotta go hunt them
Right.
down.
Right. In which case you say, great, go ahead and do that.
But,
You're
and
ready to buy
that's
it,
true
you
though,
know?
because there's that is the reality. So like, good luck, just pulling catching a fly with a chopstick, like. Yep. Right people.
With a
Uh-huh.
chop. is
Well,
that-
there are,
No, that's from.
yeah.
That's
Kid.
from.
Yeah, is
My
that-
kid.
Is that Canadian?
Canadian. That was good.
There is a business model out there. If people know what a wholesaler is, but
Yeah.
their whole business model is to find people outside of MLS to work some sort of magic on when they purchase that property. And that's traditionally what investors have had to do. It wasn't until the market went to crap that they could say, hey, we could just buy these things on MLS. But now we're getting back into the good market, so they're having to go back and transition to their norm. Those signs that are yellow, they're black and yellow. Call me, cash now, house this. That's what they're looking for those deals. They're like, oh my God, the house is about to fall over. Hello, would you like to sell your home? Cash right now. That's what they're trying to get those deals still from the mid-sell. Okay. Good. What else? One more.
The other one we talked about was, the April weather, maybe
Yeah.
causing some sellers to
I think you're right about that.
pause with regard to putting on the market. And so that could be part of why we're behind from last year.
I try not to buy into the whole weather thing often, but I think if you look nationally, there was, even in our company as a whole, it was a little bit less because I think that weather was a little bit of a curveball.
And I think it was when it was this April business, it was just such an odd year. I think it just threw everybody out of whack a little bit.
I don't disagree with you. Okay, we got just a few minutes left, and I want to spend some time talking about the disc. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is maybe 2 weeks or so ago, I went in before Bolden. The coach does some coaching before the session starts. And he went in and he said, okay, today we're going to spend some time talking about the disc. My immediate reaction was, I know I'm drinking this. Let's see, I got, like, why did I come in, 45 minutes early to talk about this? And then as he kept going, I was like, oh my God, this is actually good. I have not heard this stuff before. It's actually super relevant. I found it to be very valuable. So in just a few minutes we have, I want to share that with you guys so that you can use it in your business, and hopefully you'll find it a little bit more enlightening. Right? So we've got the D, we've got the I, we've got the S, we've got the C. Everybody in this room is either here or here. I'm just kidding. Most people, right, in our profession are D's and I's. So somebody quickly tell me, what are some of the characteristics of somebody that is a high D according to the disc?
Driver.
They're driver, they're direct, somewhat aggressive. Some people might say rude. I'm just kidding, but they're just kind of like pushy, sense of urgency. Let's get this done, right? Your high I's, what are they like?
chatting to talk about Zoom.
Same thing, but
Chatty.
they care
People
about
are
people.
Same thing, but they care about people. I wonder what you are. They're your social butterfly. They're easily distracted. The sense of urgency isn't always there because they just rather talk to people and see what's going on. And, hey, how are you? That kind of thing, right? So let's talk about some of these other two categories down here. In S. And S is what type of person?
Gosh.
They're more of a sensor. They're very warm, very kind-hearted. Yep, they're maybe just not as like gregarious as an I. They don't move as quickly as an I, right? Then you've got C's over here. C's are what type of personality or characteristic traits?
Calculating nerds.
Calculate. Who said nerds?
Canada.
They're analytical. They're your engineers. Your scientists.
Math teachers.
Your math teachers, right? They want the details. Like that guy up here, I can guarantee he was probably a C.
Yeah.
I'm saying that in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
You know, you could just tell he was measured, he was even keel. And you could tell her job was to kind of help with that a little bit, right? Don't forget to say this, don't forget to say that, right? So, and being able to kind of assess somebody's personality trait would show how it interacts. I would have come up to that guy like, yeah, nice job, dude. He's like, oh my God, get away from me. I'd say, hey, thank you so much for coming. It was great to have you. And whatever we can do to help your business and help our business, we really appreciate it. Let's stay in touch, blah, 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 right? So here's an interesting, some more interesting information that takes us to a deeper level than just that. Roughly 5% of the population are Ds. Roughly 25% are Is. The majority of the population, 45%, are S's. And the other 25% are C's. I thought that was very interesting. And when you think about the kind of people that you're coming in contact with and how you operate yourself as a professional. People on this side, your I's and your S's over here tend to be people-oriented, right? Their focus is people. Your D's and your C's, they tend to be more focused and oriented on tasks. Your S's and your C's move at a slower pace. If you try to rush these people, they're not going to do business with you. Jennifer, we need a response to this counter within 20 minutes. You're not the agent for me. Versus knowing how they understand, say, Jennifer, go ahead and take some time. If you need to think about it tonight, that's fine. Just let me know. Take all the time that you need, right? I's and D's, fast-paced. Makes sense. They're much more fast-paced than some of the other personality types. Here is what was really interesting for me and kind of a takeaway for me. Because as a high I, naturally, I think I get along with everybody just fine. I'm a high. I love people. People love me. It's amazing, right? Here's the deal. I's and S's tend to communicate together very well because they're people-oriented, right? I's and D's tend to communicate together fairly well because they're both fast-paced. They want to move. They want to keep things going, right? S's and C's communicate well together because they both want to move at a moderate pace. C's and D's communicate well because they're both task-oriented, right? Where you have communication issues are where these things are diagonal across from each other. I's have issues with C's because they want to be fast-paced, moving about people, and C's are slow-paced and talking about tasks and stuff. D's struggle with S's because they want to move quickly and they're just focused on the tasks and getting the job done. C's want to slow it down and talk about people, right? This for me was aha, because if you had not explained this to me before and you had said, Zach, where do you think you probably have friction with communication? I would have said I probably would have conflict with the D. Because I'm a people person, and for me it's all about people, and I know that D's are just a bunch of jerks. I'm just kidding.
They're pushy.
They're pushy, right? They're pushy. So I would have thought naturally, hey, I probably wouldn't get along so well with D's. If you would ask about S's and C's, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. After all, naturally. But then when I thought about it, and they pointed this out to me, I said, you know what? And it became very clear to me in the military setting. It's like, you know what? You're right. As an I do get along with D's because we're just getting it done. Hey, we do this, and this, we're moving fast, we're after it. What does drive me nuts is when somebody says these words, well, technically, shut up. Right, yeah, technically shut up. But that was an aha for me. Right, from a communication standpoint, it's like, oh, that goes against my conventional wisdom. And I need to be conscious of that because I do get frustrated when people say, well, hey, hey, sir, technically we need, or hey, we need to figure this out, or hey, have we stopped to think about this? I'm like, no, we don't need to. Is it big? Keep going, right? So when you look at where you are in this spectrum and knowing who you tend to communicate well with and work well with, and who you might have some struggles with, when we put it in terms of an agent and client relationship, is very beneficial, right? I know that we have a client right now Carly's working with all day long, and he's driving her nuts right now because it's question after question after question. Rethink about this, rethink about that, let me analyze this. Can my wife see the property again? Can I go see the property again? It's just like, dude, are you gonna buy it or not? Right?
You probably will, you just gotta slow it down with them.
And it's human nature to have those reactions to it, but we have to step back as a professional and remember, okay, here's the deal. He's this personality type. What do I do, or how do I communicate with him to make sure that he's comfortable, that I'm doing my job as a professional, and that we can take good care of him, right? Because the biggest thing that we're harped on as a profession is our what? It's our communication. It's our communication. So if we understand it at a deeper level and put it into practice, it's going to skyrocket your interactions with clients, which ultimately do what for you?
Business.
You do more deals, and you do more repeat and referral deals as a result.
But here's the deal, you have to think that for every transaction, if there's a husband and wife, they're probably opposite. That's the reality. So to say.
Here, I'll give you myself and Carly for an example. Yeah. So I'm in IS, she's in SC. So we're different, but we have this common overlap in which we're very similar. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're gonna have couples sometimes that are very different. And what's interesting, especially when Carly and I were working together more side by side, is, and this is true of my parents, one of us might have a better connection with the other than vice versa, right? Then we would just kind of speak to that. Or I would tag in and say, hey, if more of a decisive conversation needs to be had, you're tagging in and making it happen. If it's just an update or something or a pleasantry, well then, she's gonna have a discussion because I'm not gonna want to sit on the phone for 5 minutes.
But you just need to acknowledge that when you're sitting down saying now in a transaction, there's usually one of you that's ready to go and sign today, and the next person is pumping the brakes as hard as they can.
Right.
So how do we get you guys both to the same place?
Well, and as a professional, I'm a little bit over time, so I'll stop in just a minute. I can see when it's happening because if Jennifer and I are at a table and I just ask the question, do you want to sign? And we do this. Like trying to communicate with our own. So what do you think about this guy? We can recognize that as a professional and say, hey, would it be helpful if I just step out for a couple minutes? You guys have a conversation, I'll come back and we'll decide. Right? They just need to have that chat real quick, right? Every time that's worked for me. So just a few tidbits and then we'll wrap it up. Talked about what's revealing for me is some strengths and some blind spots you might have when you think about this critically and how you can address them. Always telling people, especially your S's and your C's, what's going to happen next. It shouldn't just be, hey, congratulations, your offer was accepted. Click. Hey, congratulations, your offer was accepted. Here's what's going to happen next. We're going to reach out to schedule your inspection. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Always tell them what's coming next. That is a weakness that I have. I know I have that weakness. I just want to make it happen. And because for me, I can show up and just make it happen. Like I know I can just, I can show up to a team meeting and I know, hey, we're going to have a good team meeting, right? Other people, I got a few texts this morning that said, what's the agenda for today? And me, as a high eye that's fast moving, what do you mean, what's the agenda? The agenda is we're going to work on your business. Get your butt here. You know what I mean? But for me, it's not the right answer though, because people need to know. If I want to communicate effectively with people, they want to know, well, what's the meeting about? They're probably still going to come, but for whatever reason, they just want to know because they want to feel prepared. Whereas for me, I'm I'm just show up, right? So you might see some agendas, you might not see some agendas in the future. I haven't decided yet. Ask them or try to figure out what their learning style is. Sometimes that can be helpful. And then what words speak to each type. Do they need to visualize it, hear it, simply see it? Do they need to feel it and touch it? Then you can have a presentation which kind of speaks to what way would be the most effective means of communication for them. So any takeaways, ahas? Was that useful? Was it just another, oh my God, this is our disc class, or was some of those tidbits of information a little bit better? You have to say yes, because
I'm surprised at the 45.
I am too. I thought the same thing.
I think I have it on my 4 disc.
I can
see me after. Great. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. ALC meeting will take place in just a few minutes right here. Who's an eye on the chart? You are?
Yeah.
We are on
Kelly
social
should almost be
media.
Yeah, I was like 90